Mud shows are the absolute worst, is normally what I would say if I'm working them. But now, as I get to watch a mud show, it looks pretty entertaining. Not gonna lie. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Jammed Up Show. I'm your host, Cooper Knuckles, and today we're going to be looking at Pittsburgh's Mud Show. So this weekend, Pittsburgh had a show. It's like I think it's the last show before the World Finals. I'm not exactly sure, but they had a show this last Saturday, and I was actually excited to watch it. And I was at a dinner, and then I went like, "Oh, let me check on them." They were on a rain delay, and at that moment, I remembered why I hate open stadium shows. You can praise open stadiums all you want on the way they look, but this is why Arlington, Texas, the Dallas Cowboy Stadium is my absolute favorite stadium. It's because they have a roof. I when I worked at Monster Jam, I absolutely despised working mud shows because you have to wash that truck like 4 times before it is good enough to go into a pit party. Mud is just not your friend at all. This microphone is not my friend at all either. Look at this. Like, brother, do your job. The Discord is now up and Adam. The link is in the description below. Be sure to go check it out. Go join the Discord. I figured we might as well make a nice little community Discord server where we can all hang out, talk monster trucks and whatnot. And there's also a nice section in there where you guys can give me some topics that you would love to hear me talk about. And there's even going to be a specific section where I want you guys to send me clips that I can react to every Friday. And I think it'll be a blast. So if you're excited, go down, links description below, go check it out, join the Discord, and let's build a nice community. All right? All right, I'll see you there. Mud shows have never been my favorite at all. The worst one I did, I believe, was either when I did the Atlanta Speedway, or it was in Kansas City. And the Kansas City, actually, we didn't, well, there was 2 Kansas City's mud shows. There was one mud show where it actually rained before the show, and then the other one was right when the show got over, there was lightning. And for some reason, they didn't let us drive the trucks off the track. And they let it just downpour rain. And by the time we're like, okay, you can now take your trucks off the track, our driving to the trailers, mud everywhere. We were there for another like 2 hours, pressure washing all the tires so we can load out. It was awful. It was stupid. Anyway, so Pittsburgh, they had a rain show, and honestly, for most fans, you would look at that and be like, well, this show is completely trashed. Well, luckily, from some of the clips that I saw, it looked like they were still able to put on a pretty decent show. The lineup was incredible. I'm not going to lie. And I'm going to be honest, if there was no mud, this show would have been phenomenal for the lineup. The lineup itself was epic. I was going to see John Zimmer Jr. in a stadium for like the first time that I was actually like paying attention. And I was excited. But the rain show dumbs it down quite a bit to where you can't really do a whole lot. I mean, even doing a donut, it just depends on the amount of traction you get. Because once you get a good amount of water on dirt and the amount of mud, it's over. You're just sliding everywhere. The one thing I really did enjoy about mud shows was it pulls out the skill in a driver now. Because now I feel like there's a good handful of drivers who are actually like pretty good when it comes to driving in the mud. Then you got some who they can't adjust to it. Granted, sometimes it depends on how muddy it is or how much you're sliding around. But if I'm being honest, there is certain drivers out there who can actually still put on a phenomenal show. And that, from what I could take it away, was Tyler Miniga, his freestyle, Corey Rummel, he was getting some good ones. And, I mean, they were all doing decent. Some were sliding around. Some were able to actually pull off some good air. But I do have to say, Tyler Miniga's run was actually phenomenal for a mud show. Yeah, like, look at that. Like, you can still get actual air as long as you know how to drive in the mud. Like, look at that. He didn't even hit the dumpster. That's insane. Was he going for the backflip? Look at that. That was pretty sick, I'm not gonna lie. Hey! Look at that! Hey, I think he saved the mud show, I'm not gonna lie. We could say that Tyler's Freestyle was later in the lineup to where it wasn't as slimed out as usual, but mud is mud, and he was still sliding around a lot, which then just goes into how certain drivers are just 10 times better driving in the mud. We got Tyler Miniga, Adam, Ryan Anderson, Neil Elliott is probably I would take Neil Elliott in any racing in mud. We were in Anaheim, and he was just driving like it was a Sunday afternoon, winning races left and right in the mud. It was awesome to see him turn halfway. He started turning like halfway before the turn, and he would just drift. And it was like, oh my gosh, this guy's a legend. It was awesome. It was pretty cool. We did get to see John Zimmer Jr., his two-wheel skill attempt was actually pretty. I was not expecting to see that in the mud show. He did use the dumpsters. He did the way Tom does it. It was pretty good. It was pretty good two-wheel skill, and the fact that he got it off in the slime and the slippery mud was pretty impressive. Where I was at, I did feel for the crew guys because they have to wash all of that before they can load out because the weight of the mud and whatnot. So that sucks for them. Now, what does suck is that this was not the exact exciting momentum you would like to see going into the World Finals, because this was supposed to be like, I don't know if there is another show. I'll have to look. I don't think there is another show going into like next weekend, but in like 2 weeks, it's the World Finals. And I believe this one was supposed to be the big like final send-off before the World Finals, but we got a mud show. All in all, depending on how you look at it, it was still fine. It was still all right. It just sucks. You go through that whole day expecting a really good, high-flying, competitive show, and instead we got racing. We just get a slip and slide of trucks trying to get by the finish line in time. Like the Bryce Kenny and, I forgot who he was racing. But that, Zach Garner, I think. The racing was funny, I'm not going to lie. It was just whoever could not slide as much would win the race. So, all in all, say what you want about mud shows. They're not my all-time favorite, but when you get the right drivers in there, they can still put on a good show. So, with that being said, what did you guys think about Pittsburgh Mud Show? I give it a 7 out of 10. 6 out of 10. I'm not gonna lie. 6 out of 10. So, all right. Comment down below your guys' thoughts on mud shows and how do you think Pittsburgh show went? I'll be looking at them. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.